Thank you for joining us today on the program. Today's live, and my name is Joyce. Yesterday we started with the topic corruption, and today we shall continue, but we'll be looking at corruption in the education system, and instances will come from the educational system of Nigeria. And joining me in the studio is Sambo Solomon. You're welcome to the show.
Joyce.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you.
And also I have engineer Tony J. Nakali, whom we'll be doing this together. Yesterday we started with corruption. That's the topic. We looked at it generally in other sectors, and we explained in detail what it entails, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with money, resources, but it was deep. So today we shall continue in it, and we shall look at education in education system, corruption in education system, and we'll bring out examples of the practices, the corrupt practices that can be found in the educational system. So let's start with the effects now of the corruption in education system. We all know we have the problem of bribery, we have the problem of malpractice, we have the problem of lecturers' demands on the students. That's the sex for grade that has been in the news for so long, and it has been an issue already. Then we have even the students' demand on the lecturers. Even when they don't want it, they offer themselves to the lecturers. Then we have buying of results. You know, one day someone can just wake up and say, okay, he has PhD or he has masters, and you'll be wondering, where has he been to that he could, you know, get that. So let's talk generally. What is education in education? What is corruption? Why do I keep saying education? What is corruption in the education system? Let's analyze it broadly.
Well, your opening summary spelled it very elaborately. Clear example is the results that people have, that their lifestyles in real life cannot match up to the qualifications. You see people with names and titles after their names, and then the nation is still where it is. Because if you are educated and your education cannot translate into developing your immediate community, into developing yourself, into developing the people that are around you, into influencing people, and seeing a ripple effect in your immediate community, we would almost say you are an illiterate. Because even if you really got the education, you got it for useless reasons, you know. And then corruption in education. Let's talk about it from our own Jerusalem. Of a truth, the system is bastardized, like truly. The system is really bastardized. And why is that? Selfish interest. What brought about selfish interest, and what has selfish interest given birth to? Corruption. You know, there are lecturers now that, thank God for the preamble yesterday, corruption is not just money and all of that. There are lecturers that demand money from maybe male students and all of that, and there are female lecturers demanding, and they're just there, and then people want to have sex and do things that they're big and bad enough to do just to be able to cross you over or to grade you up, or to, and even students are corrupt, you know. Everybody is hassling everybody in the education vicinity. You ask students, study. They say, even if you study, the lecturer will do what he wants to do at the end. But you are not studying for the lecturer. You just keep studying. You are studying for life. Like I tell people, you don't study because you have an exam. You study because you have life to live. See? So if we are talking about corruption in education, it has it swam into every facet of it, from the way the admission is gotten,
Yes.
to the way the registration is done, to the way you start your year one, to the way you cross over to your year two, to the way your assessments, your continuous assessments, your scorecards, everything has an iota of corruption in it. Look at it this way. If you have to sleep with a girl, can't you even just have a relationship with her? Talk her into it. We're not saying that's the right thing to do, but we're just saying she doesn't have to pay for it that way. You know, so that is not even a wrong against a nation, is a wrong against God, whether it's in Islam, whether it's in Christianity, you know. And so I think this topic is timely. We will keep talking, actually, and for the people who will listen, believe us, and act upon what we say, they are the kind of people that we are on air for. So I think it's important for people to know that if you have to do it right and fail, it's better than doing it wrong and get the grades that are not.
You're right. I would just say he just said everything, but you can see, you know, the drop in standard. People don't even see, once that happened, people don't even see standard as anything, because that's where you find compromise. Compromise in the sense that, okay, you have a certificate that you can't defend. So if you are a professional, just like yesterday, what we saw, you know, from the clip, which we saw yesterday, that block industry. Okay, imagine somebody read
Civil engineering
or building engineering in school, and you are to build. And you know that during that process, from the admission, like you rightly said, from the admission, possibly, maybe that's not what the university, or probably you didn't even get the admission that year, but there are some processes, because someone knows someone, and then you're like, okay, even if it's building, just give my child, let him just leave. At least he has been looking for this university for like 3 years now. He's at home, let him just go. And then in the process, that's not where his interest is, but he just have to, like, and then he started. At the end, he graduated, cutting corners and the rest, and then you give him a house to build. Did you see that guy coming with something that had to do with standard, with what he went through as training? I don't see that. So you see a lot of compromise. That's why so many things you now see happening, and then you tend to wonder. And then you see in these processes, because people are involved, like this, the issue of building collapse. Definitely there's the issue of inferior materials being used, and then there's the issue of approval. There is the issue of follow-up from the authority. What was it? Is it 15-story building? And the rest. So I'm just looking at the chain, you know, to that. So if you look at the chain, you have the organization, the Lagos development, I don't know how they called it. But there are certain department that are saddled with the responsibility to check all those things. So you see the chain. So if he said, okay, let's probe, then this one we call this one, this one we call this one, this one we call this one. So at the end of it, what I'm trying to say, you find out when you have such corruption in that level, at the end of it, if something happened at the end and they start tracking, then you find out that, okay, he acquired even the certificate wrongly. Who is involved? Who taught him? Who gave him the admission? So names will start, and then before you know it, they'll be like, no, names are popping up. I think we should stop this. Let's just leave it. If not, you know, so names have been mentioned. If not, there will be a disgrace on this family, on this. So before you know it, everything goes down. So at the end of it, you won't see any result, even in the investigating process. So it even affects, like you said earlier, it affects almost everything that you do, because education is expected that is the one that will shape a community or a nation. Okay, if you have such corruption, that means you are breeding unqualified people, whether doctors, name them, whether a professional course, name them. That means the future, there's danger.
And it's true that education is the foundation of every individual, because be it the formal education, that's the four corners of the classroom, or be it at home, which we can directly call the informal, or be it just even with your peer group or whatsoever, is a foundation. And I really want us to look at it critically, because the corruption in education has made educational system in Nigeria a kind of a decayed sector where everything is found, be it from the marking of results, be it from even getting admission. Getting admission in Nigeria now is a testimony. It's more like a miracle that when people get it, they go to the churches to testify, I have gotten admission. Then you will see an intelligent individual will write his JAMB, get the score that is needed, but he's still at home, and you'll be wondering, how is education given? I mean, how are admissions given in Nigeria? Is it by when you pay or when you know someone? You know, we deal also with the issue of nepotism, where you have to know someone before you can even get educated in the country as such, a developing country. So, in looking at it critically now, there is the issue of, first of all, the gaining of admission, which is a problem. And I know a lot of people are watching, a lot of people that have struggled with admission will testify that it's not an easy deal. I really want us to talk about it, like, where can the change come from? Because if we're talking corruption in the educational system, we have to really attack it from the root, which is even gaining admission. And I would like us to talk about it in the higher institution now, that's the tertiary, because I don't know how easy it is for the primary and secondary, you know, but tertiary is majorly where the problem is found, where you can write your JAM, you can write all those things, but you still be at home because maybe you don't know anybody in the school that you want, or you are not even offered what you want to study at the end of the day, because it's crowded and it's first come, first serve, or your money will have to talk for you, or just so many of these issues. What can you say about that, and where can the change really come from? Because we have to talk from that then first before we even enter malpractice, then we go to the school setting.
I think, Joyce, all of these things start from even the nursery school. Because most people that you find even in tertiary institution, that they find it as a normal. You know, we have come to a point where the normal become
They accepted.
The unnormal become the accepted. Like, that is what is trending now. Yesterday, I just said something small. Why you find out that a parent will pick his child to a nursery school, where they're expecting, that's where the molding will start, aside home. Then you find you entrusting your child or your ward in a corrupt teacher. Possibly that's not his line. But because in the country there's issue of unemployment, and then somehow you be like, okay, can you just give my child, even if he's just teaching, let him just teach. And then you find those people, you know, in line of teaching, that they are not trained. You know, one time in this country we have what are they called? You know, during secondary school, teachers' colleges. That is, even from secondary school, from JS1, you are being trained to become a teacher. That secondary school level, then we have teachers' colleges. When later it was abolished, that when you finish your normal secondary school, that's when you make a choice whether to go for teachers
training college or something.
Yes, teachers institution that we have now that award diploma or degree and the rest. But then it was from the secondary school, from just one. That's when they will start grooming you, and that's why if you look at teaching then and now, the profession, it's quite different. The love for the job, how patient they can be, the teachers. We passed through these teachers. You can see how they take you gradually and they allow you. But you can't see it now happening because not that the training is not there, but most people that have been given the job, they are not even qualified teachers. They have been just given. And then you imagine, okay, this is another side of corruption. This person is not qualified to be a teacher. He's teaching from primary school, and then you entrust him with your child, and then before you know it, he's teaching your child something different. And then at the end of it, there are certain things. Sometimes your child will tell you, no, that's not what my auntie told me. You are telling your child, but you see, like he's even believing the teacher more than you, the parent. And then imagine the teacher teaching that child wrong thing, and then he grows with it. It becomes part of him. Then he finished secondary school. That's another level of meeting different kind of people too that are not either qualified or they are corrupt due to the nature of the system, and then finding themselves in the tertiary institution. I just say, let's just lay this. And then you find out even in the tertiary institution, from the student to the lecturers, they find some of these things like it's just normal. Because when you ask, they will tell you, okay, like he rightly said earlier, okay, if you read, the teacher will do what he feels like doing. So let me just wait and let's just relate and meet at that level. But I will assure you that it's not all students that does that. Some, they prefer to repeat like 3 years, remain in the university and do the writing and get their mark and defend it. They prefer that. But some, they can't go that level. They will tell you, let's relate. Do you know that in tertiary institution, they even have agents? Those that pass through the tertiary institution, whether it's 4 years, they finish, they go through the system, they know who and who and who and who, and they will tell you what marks for what amount. That is when it comes to issue of payment for grade. And when it comes to issue of sex for grade, they also have agents. Those that we talk those girls, to them, whether based on relationship or they suggest to them, this is how you follow this lecturer. If you do this, it makes it easier for you. So this is the trend. These things are happening, and we have to talk about it, just like the way GM says. Yes, for those that care to listen, if we don't talk about it, you find it difficult because this is a public interest topic. Yes. People are really suffering. People cannot talk. You go out there, you interview these ladies. Some of them are so brilliant, they are beautiful, but the way the lecturers, the way the lecturers will even handle them will make you look like you are an inferior person, like you don't have something to even offer. And when you give that person like different question, you can send 10 different questions. Now that person can answer, but they will just cage you and make you look somehow, simply because they want to get their way through. So these things are happening, and we have to talk about this thing.
Before the school setting now, before even gaining the admission, like I said, in the processes of the gaining of admission, because we have a lot of people that are desperate, I would like to use that word for admission, but they are just at home, they have prospect, they have the potential to at least get a formal education to add up to what their skills are required for, but they are just at home and they feel there are some that are undeserving, let me use that word too, but they are in school and they are left to be home struggling 1 year, 2 years. We have some people 5 years, they are still at home without education. Where do you think the decay is, and is there going to be a change? Because we really need a change in the system of application, that's writing the exams, because we have these bodies, we have the NACO, we have the JAM, we have the WAEC, and they are required for you to pass some certain cut-off marks, get your papers, either maybe 5 credits or how many credits, before you know, that is like you being qualified to gain admission. But at the end of the day, you see someone with all these points, with all his papers, but he's at home.
Joyce, what corruption has done to Nigeria? I think we need God's intervention to be able to come out of it. Because you raise a very brilliant question. And I'm going to take you back somewhere. You see, when you have an injury on the leg, the doctor asks you, how did you get this injury? So that he knows what treatment. If you say, I fell, he would ask you where, what kind of surface. I got caught by what? Is it a blade? Is it a knife? If it's a blade, he would ask you, was the blade a new one or an old rusty one? Why? Because he wants to administer the right treatment. Now, that is what you just did. Corruption stopped us from knowing the statistics of the people in the country that are going to school. We always talk about, we have youths, they are jobless. Even government officials tell you that, but ask them how many youths are there. They don't know. So how many people do you want to give jobs to? It's just like asking you how many are you in your family. I say, well, let me call my mom to ask. You are irresponsible. You are never a part of that family. Yeah. And the people that have been leading this country, they are just in a world of their own. They are not a part of this country. To answer your question, Joyce, how can you make proper adequacy in the sector of education without knowing the people that are looking for admission? How can you know? You cannot, sir. Imagine, we have a very big building here in the ECWA headquarters that is accommodating every staff here. And then you just wake up and you hear that the ECWA executives say they are employing 12,000 more people. To work in which complex? No matter the need for these people, you have to make proper arrangement for their accommodation in the office before they come. That is what is missing, and that has answered your question. The reason is because is not because the appointment or the admission is not available. It is available, but it cannot be given because the capacity is brimmed up. Go to NUC, National University Commission. They have a standard. The standard tells you, in a class, don't have more than this. In a department, don't have more than this number of students. In the whole of your university, you can only have this number of students if you have this number of hostels. You can have this number of students if you have this number of accommodation. You can have this number of students in this faculty if you have this number of this size of lecture hall. You can have this, you can have this. How many universities in Nigeria really hacking to that? How many times did you hear that NUC went to shut down a university because they don't have proper accommodation? They only send you letters of as a defaulter. They send you letter as a defaulter. And quickly you see the registrar of the university running to the NUC. They speak their language, you come back, they run business as usual. You see what corruption has done to Nigeria, right? What corruption has done to Nigeria, I think, I don't know the best way to describe it. Think about it. The Plateau State where ECWA Television is rootly seated. Till today, we are still talking about the impeachment saga. Let me ask you a question, Solo. Don't we have dilapidated government hospitals in Plateau?
Uncountable, sir.
Don't we have people who have no hope making it the next second on the Plateau?
So big.
Don't we have people who have not been paid for a long time on the Plateau? Don't we have bad roads on the Plateau? Have you ever seen government channeling strength in these areas like this, looking for power? No. So let's ask ourselves, what is the government up to? What are the people up to? Now in Plateau, the common thing that people tell you is that the governor has his speaker, and the people of Plateau have their speaker. That's what people tell you. I can see solidarity everywhere. Lagos State House of Assembly, I think they are still recognizing Abok as the speaker. And then Plateau State government, they're recognizing what's the other guy's name as the speaker.
Sander.
Till today, sir, till today, solution is not given to the issue. Until today, whether you like it or not, is still news in Nigeria. But look at the roads, even within the metropolis. Look at, I remember one time, I shouldn't say this on TV, but I should say that I remember one time, people gathered and started a WhatsApp group that they want to fix a road. The contributions started coming in. Yeah. They want to fix a road that the government could not fix. I was added to that WhatsApp group. That could have been an international shame.
One person donated 3 million to that cause. And somebody was willing to give 10 what do you call it? Tipper of gravels. That is how contributions start coming. And then people in the community, people who applied that role, are willing to come out
it's everybody, sir. People who come from Abuja, going to Bauchi, Gombe, Taraba, Maiduguri, Adamawa, Yobe, everywhere, that is their road.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So what are we talking about? Government priority is, if we say is misplaced, we have helped that phrase. But government has no priority other than remaining in power. So you look at corruption and you look at the guy that, or the girl that is sitting at home for 5 years without admission. Government is aware. There's just nothing they can do about it because they had no plans before that time. And you cannot go and when you were in school, how many of you were in class when a lecturer was teaching? You were in what was it called? University of Jos. Yes. At the old campus here in Gangari. Where I worked, I lectured audio production in that same place. I used to have 600 and something students in my class.
Yes, sir. Just one department.
And you shout, it's like a hall which is, is elevated like that. You shout your life out for the last person to hear. And you tell someone, I graduated from a university. And then you look at the system. Nobody is even addressing the issue. Because once they address it, it's going to block, even if they execute it at the end, it's going to block a lot and a lot and a lot for them to have access to steal.
Sir, sorry, Joyce. I wanted to come to that because you have, even in the tertiary section that you ask, you lecture 700 students taking one course, audio production, sir, which I guess is practical. You have that direct experience.
So we broke them into 12 in a group, and whatever you got as a group is the mark you get as an individual. So when I come to the studio is so small that it's too small that you have to go outside to change your mind. And I built that studio with one Mr. Nasir. I don't know where he is right now, but it's very small. You can't even change your mind inside because it's small. So you have to go outside, change your mind, then you come back. And then you have 12 people coming in to do production.
And this this is
and these are people paying fees.
Yes, that's what I want to talk about, because right now we have so many
and
hikes
they
in
pay
fees.
Production fee, Joyce.
We have so many hikes in school fees, so many hikes in before you even do a registration, you must have paid a lot of money.
A lot of levies.
Institutions.
Yes.
And we have a lot of these schools. Government are trying to structure more schools, bringing in more schools to see that, okay, more people can go to school, but they are not even looking into the levies, into the school fees that are being paid, you know. And when you ask, okay, who are the people responsible? Is it the federal government, or is it the state government, or is it the local government that are in charge of seeing that, okay, there is a good budget for all these schools? I'm talking about the government schools now. None is responsible to come up and say, okay, we are the ones that are responsible. But when the profit is coming out, the state government will start fighting that this school is in our state, so the revenue should be in our state. But when it's time to, you know, to build structures there, it is not done. And it's so sad that aside this hike in fees, students, the school is even dealing with kidnappers right now. We've heard issues of where kidnappers go to the school to kidnap students, and already kidnap lecturers and even their children. And already we have underlying issues in the schools that are not even looked at. The government or the authorities that are in charge are not even looking deep into. We have the issue of the bribery. We have the issues of lecturers demanding sex, just like we said, which is of interest. We have the issue of students must buy materials that the lecturers are selling, and that will be counted as their continuous assessment. They bring off books, which is not even supposed to be in the syllable or whatsoever, but you have to pay for it. We have the issue of buying results. Right now, we have so many PhDs, professors, and we have doctors that cannot even defend it.
Joyce,
that
a
they are not
friend
even
of mine
accountable for
that
it.
I didn't see in 3 months. He strolled in with a PhD from your state. No, he is not from your state, but he got it from your state. And then he said we should start calling him doctor. I said, doctor what? Not doctor who, I said doctor what? As in, you know, these things, there are people that will even call you, friends will call you and say, Tony, get this thing now. With just 200K, 300K, you will get it. Just get it. Just send the money. They will do it and bring it to you. I can't. Where would my conscience be? Where would my conscience be? Okay. Just think about it. Who cares? This system that you are talking about, you think anybody cares? Let me tell you how it happens. The person who made you VC is expecting that you support him in return. You get the point?
Loyalty.
The person who made you HOD, who is the VC, is expecting that you support him in return. The person who made you class rep or course rep or all of this in the school is expecting loyalty from you. If you remember the point I made earlier, I said everybody is hustling everybody. The guy at the gate, somebody put him there and told him, you have to shine your eye. That gate that you are, you have to, if you don't do well, I'll remove you there. I will put you maybe at the back of the school where you'll be watching out for kidnappers, where nobody wants to be. It's just the system everywhere you go. So when you come to the gate, guy, you're welcome, oh boss, chairman. They want something from you. I think you were the one that was talking about someone who got to the Nigerian airport and they were asking him,
You have to pay this person.
I came back from a trip one time and somebody said, Oga, I just brought my hand luggage. Say about Oga, big man like you, waiting, we dey craze, we go search your bag. Oga, your boys dey here. How that side now? I told the guy, I said, I don't even have any Nigerian currency on me. He said, Oga, na airport we dey, they change and say Aboki they change am. The guy was willing to shut his cubicle down. There was a long queue behind me to follow me to where I can change and give him something.
While
not
people wait.
minding. Solo, is it the waiting that we're talking about, or what maybe supposedly I carried? If I strolled into that airport with a bomb or an explosive, rather, even him, he will not spend the money I gave him. So think about it. If you are talking about corruption in the education sector, the Minister of Education, somebody put him in that position. I expect loyalty.
Sure.
And you know loyalty is a pregnant word. And then the person will say, okay, the universities, I need the list of our government universities. Who are the vice chancellors there? Bring them, bring them. How is this person doing? I was like, oh, God, this person, don't remove him more. And then you see he's doing well, they start checking. We know the system. And then if they tell you this thing that you are bringing is not much, that is a bigger corruption, and it affects everybody to the parent of the child.
It's true.
You mean to tell me that the VC of a university is not aware that lecturers are giving handouts for sale and they are counting it as CAs in schools? They know. Why are they not doing anything about it? They permitted it. They permitted it. Why? Because they have to service their loyalty. So what are we talking about? Do you think everybody is a willing participant to stop what he's doing because you are talking about it on TV? No. It is the responsibility of the government. And I think that the more we start using less people and more of an automated system,
technology,
the better it works for us. We have to start thinking in that direction. It is a computer that will raise an alarm right now to alert you that Joyce Iyakwari is malpracticing. Or she hit a button that she should not touch. Because look at the case that you brought of somebody who stole how much? In the
2.1 billion.
2.1 billion pensioners.
And I asked you the question, how did he get access to such funds? I asked, how did he get access to such funds?
Person, yes.
If you say that, okay, the money was kept in the bank, how did he request for that money out? Who joined in the request or in the processing of that request for the money to be out? Who? And then you see people are arrested year in, year out, and we are kept in the dark. The moment somebody is arrested, they let us know that they have arrested this person. That's the end of the story. And you don't hear whether the person is granted bail or the person
out,
and
or what
when they are in prison. There was one time Bode George was in prison. There's nothing to hide. It was a very big story in Nigeria. We heard that his cell was tastefully furnished in the prison. Everything. It was just the only thing he was denied was his access to outside. But he was there. People were visiting him. He didn't even know he was in prison. That guy stole how much? I think it was one money from, was it Shippers Council or something? And the guy was given so time to stay in prison. So now what are we talking about? In the past 10 years, we have had stories, we have heard stories of lootings here and there. And government will tell you we have collected this money. Yet our hospitals are still terrible. Yet so what does it take you to renovate a hospital and make it of standard? It takes you nothing but effort. It takes you nothing but, we have friends that are lawmakers in states and at federal levels. These people, Joyce, they are wondering what is happening as well. Some of them will tell you, we even met the president with this proposal, or they signed it and everything, and that was the end. So what are you saying? If we are talking about corruption, corruption is not something that you can eradicate by locking people up. No. You lock one person, another person is giving glory to God because it's his turn now to start looting. Because the person that was there was looting alone. Now he's not there. He can loot alongside other people.
Turn by turn, national cake. That's how they tag it.
And you mentioned when people are arrested, we don't even hear anything like a follow-up and so much of the processes that are done and so many of these issues. But I would like us to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion. And I just want to remind our viewers that we are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can send in your comments. When we're back on the show, we'll start taking them. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're talking corruption in the education sector of Nigeria, and it has been today's live. I am Joyce, I have Tony Nakali, and I have Sambo Solomon in the studio. Before the break, I promise that when we are back, we'll start talking and we'll start taking comments on the show. That will look at other practices and other allegations or other offenses that some people committed. They were arrested and nothing was done about it, especially the JAM registrar. And we just want to discuss it. But before then, let's take the comments on Facebook, if we may.
We have a lot of people watching, but we just have one comment. We love your program. That's Tete Theophilus.
Okay. Okay, there is this case of the
Asabe Justina Madaki is watching with us, and we have Tariq Khan is watching with us, and Binta Bege is watching with us. We have a lot of people watching, and they are keenly following what we are saying. We would prefer if you, whether you agree what we are saying or not, try and lend your own contributions. Yeah.
Okay, we have the alleged 900 million naira fraud, and which was would I say done now by the JAM registrar, that's Mr. Ojerinde, and he was arrested and detained by the ICPC over corruption allegation in March. And allegedly, the fraud was about the JAM registrar from 2012 to 2016, when he was the NECO registrar. Then these are allegations of multiple identities, abuse of money, office money, money laundering, tax evasion, making false statements, and awarding fraudulent contracts to untraceable shell companies. All this now will make you start thinking. The government now brought up a strategy that's to restructure JAM, to bring up about the automated system that you've always talked about. Like even in the writing of the examinations, there are computers where you have to work with. There are processes that you have to follow. Like it was just a beautiful plan. I don't know if they've carried on with it. So much money was given, a lot of budget. Then at the end of the day, one person is packing all this just for himself. Then even the process of the automation, that's writing the examinations with your computers, is the computer that will mark you if you make it or not. At the end of the day, the result will be announced too electronically. So many of these things. Don't you think it's a beautiful idea? Yeah. Then now looking at how this issue, everything just rounded up to be this way, the 900 million naira fraud. Where are we going as a country? Is there even trust in, will the government even trust the people they put in offices that, when we give you this money or when we put you in the position and we want to restructure this place for you for a better Nigeria or a better educational system, will you pull it through?
Yeah, what you just mentioned is so sad. We're hearing this, and then when you go through other sectors, you have some alarming figures that, yes, like the one that...
and this is just, there are so many. There are some 2 staff of the JAM that were also arraigned for extortion by from students. Then just so many, even in the educational system, in the universities, before you even go to the university environment, by the gate when you just come, you're asking, okay, what department, where is this department located, where can I find this? The people that are minding the gate will start asking you questions like, what is it, do you want admission, and all. I have someone that can get you admission. And before you know, the report will come up that maybe he slept with a lady or he extorted a lot of money from her, and if you're a male student, so many of these issues, it starts even from the gate men are.
You see, I thank God, because Plateau State University, I had them, one of their jingle, they're even warning people that their admission is direct, it's JAM and them. So they don't have any third party, because
so people are out of options.
Yes,
and you see, there is a when you want to sensitize, don't use. If you really want people to get, not because it's a law, when you want to change your name, it has to appear in one of the publications and all of that. And people do it just because that is the law, not because they are trying to get people to know. I didn't know that there was an advert like that. Maybe because I don't listen to radio. If you are targeting everyone, if you want everybody to know this truth, you know how to go about it. I mean, we are friends with the university. You understand? It is in our domain as well.
Yes.
You have a mass communication department that can look deep in. When you are talking about research, mostly is in universities that they are conducted.
Sure.
So you do a research. How do we get every Plateau citizen, whether the man is somewhere behind the rocks, to hear about this? That's the first point of call before doing a jingle. How many people listen to radio?
Right.
There is a woman in the village who is a farmer, sir. She does not have time. What she wants to hear is take money, go to school. She doesn't know how, admission, nothing.
Or hear someone say,
she tells her child, go and look for school. The point is, you want to sensitize people. This woman that does not listen to radio, does she go to church? Does she go to mosque? How does she socialize? You do your research. If she goes to church, what church? Is it a Pentecostal church? Is it a church that is evangelical? Is it, what is it? Then you look for the leaders and tell them, this is courtesy call. Humble yourself. This is what we do, because people have been cheated and this and this and this. And we don't sensitize people in Nigeria. Anything you want to do, you put it on network news. We don't even have light to watch the news. You understand?
You're right.
90%, or let's say between 70 to 90% of youths in Nigeria, they are on social media.
Yes.
Pay an ad on Facebook and put it there. Everybody will see it. Everybody will see it. But when we hear that you do radio, you are on radio mostly.
Yes.
So you listen to radio a lot of times. We don't. Sir, if we want to deal with this thing, jingle is our last option.
It's true.
Jingle is our last. In fact, you don't even have to make an advert choice. When people come to you and say, I paid for admission here, you tell them, us, we don't do admission. They will go and spread the word. I just paid this money, the money disappeared, and apparently I lost money. So please don't go and do it happened to me. People will go and talk about it. You understand? And if you stay true to what you believe, if you stay true to what you believe, you say, we don't do this here, we don't do this here, we don't do this here. It's people that will go out and tell them, in that university, this is how they operate, or this is how they operate. Look at Bingham University now. We don't have issues of corruption as a university. But we have corrupt people in the university. There are two different things. So that cannot tarnish the image of the university to a large extent, because it is not the university that has issues of corruption. The university has no way of knowing. I have been so involved with Bingham University for a very long time. And one time a girl met me to tell me how that someone told her to bring money, to do this and do this and do this, so that she will scale through to the next class. So she did it. She didn't scale through.
That's good for her.
It's good for her.
Yes,
it's good for
that
her.
means the system
I
is
don't know
working.
why people can go on social media, post selfies, and talk about their frustrations and all of that, but you cannot walk to the office of your VC and report your HOD, whoever he is. What can he do to you? The highest authority in the school is this person. This is what this person is asking me for. If you are intelligent to be able to know how to post a picture, you should be intelligent to report situations that are wrong.
Evidence, yes.
We should keep talking. In Nigeria, it's so unfortunate. Maybe it has a lot to do with our nature. Now I'm getting angry, right? Maybe it has a lot to do with our nature. Something will come out. Look at how NSAS came with every kind of seriousness.
Yeah.
It is the same people that started the NSAS with every kind of enthusiasm that make a joke out of it. I didn't say that made, I said that make a joke out of it. Every day, there is one joke or the other about things that should have been taken serious in this country. How many social media handlers do we have in Nigeria? Can you count them? How many Nigerians are on Twitter? How many Nigerians are on Facebook? How many Nigerians are on Instagram? These places have not become places where you can channel. They are just places where you post selfies, you post fashion, and you talk about useless things when the issues of this country are staring at us in the face. One day, they have banned Twitter in Nigeria. One day they will come out to tell you the only thing that you can post. What is wrong if you post your experience with your lecturer and even mention his name? You will die anyway. That's the truth. What is wrong if you post the man who raped you? What is wrong if you say the things that, what is wrong if we start talking? What is wrong, sir? So social media should be a place where we should go and like pour out our concerns.
I think people are scared of talking because of the justice system too.
That is the reason, Joyce. When everybody on social media starts talking, everybody cannot be arrested. But when few are talking and some people are afraid, you see, there is this power, Joyce, that you cannot explain till today. The world cannot explain the power of coming together. The world cannot explain. United Nations, all of these organizations, they cannot explain the power of coming together. If a country likes, let her put any kind of policy. If everybody in the country says we don't want, and when I say, I don't mean when you sit with your children and say, this will not work, this will not work. No, I mean come out to the place where it matters and speak. We see government officials today. I think you can deny me every right of talking after this. Government officials they say it, leave them. They will go to social media and be talking nonsense there. It's because we have not talked the one that has affected them.
It's true.
NSAS was it was a big threat. That is why you saw the enthusiasm to which it was quenched. If we approach issues like that 5 times in a year, what are you telling me? The people that gave up their lives for Nigeria to be as good as it is today, are they alive? They are not. With these few words of mine.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, he was in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah, no.
Can you remember what you were saying?
Yeah, I think I give you a kicker, you know, for that well elaborate.
Okay, so that means let me just change the question now.
Not really. You see, the issue of JAM is an institution being saddled with the responsibility of giving admission by law. By law. But that's where you mention all of those things that are happening. But anyway, I just want to say this, to give them kudos, because one time we know that the remittance to the national, the central account, you know, was 200 million or so, not even up to $1 billion. And you imagine, you hear thousands.
Joyce, how much is somebody still there?
The amount
900 million naira.
And then you hear thousands of students paying for JAM registration. Then it was 5,000 and above. It depends on when you purchase. And then you hear the remittance like
200 million.
Like 200 million, not up to $1 billion, 800 million. And you start wondering, and you hear people. This is just one part of it. But they restructure everything. But still yet, they said JAM are the only people that will give you admission. We find universities, just like what you said. A VC will say, no, the university have their own internal exam. You have to write. Then what is JAM doing?
And after writing the internal exam, there are people, specific people that have a list.
They have
Maybe
a list.
the VC will have the VC list, HOD list, and so many of these
all
things.
the lists you
These
can
are
mention.
issues that when we start talking about, we can't even end right now. It's just so sad that in Nigeria, there are schools that when you want to pass in flying colors, they recommend to you. I know some schools that, is it WAEC, you want to pass, they will say, go to this school, register, and you will pass. Or some universities, where you even mention that you graduated from this university, they will start doubting. Did you even pass through it? Or you paid at the end of the day, or you did one thing or the other. It's just so sad, and it's the credibility of the education system that is being affected in Nigeria. We don't really see problems, how high they are. We see them at the surface. Because, okay, you as an individual can walk into a school, pay and get your doctorate degree, or just wait for some years, then you get the PhD, or just, your children too, without even passing through anything, they can even get their certificate. Then when we want the better education, that's the time we start thinking of outside countries, take them out so that they can have a better education. But we're injuring the education system in the country. And for those that have been watching, we've been talking the corruption in the education sector. If you have your comment, you can still send it. We'll take it more on the subsequent shows. Tomorrow we shall continue from where we stop. We will be talking about corruption in the government and public offices and those that are involved in public funds. And we'll be talking about corruption too in our own offices as individuals, organizations, and whatsoever. So thank you very much for watching. We just want to appreciate the ECWA executive for giving us this platform to bring awareness and information to viewers in Nigeria and even abroad internationally. And thank you so much for our supporters that are always supporting us financially and prayerfully. We appreciate you. Thank you and goodbye.